All right, hi there. So we're back with our next question in the Data Expert SQL Questions Challenge. And this is an explainer video where I'm going to walk through the question, select rows with maximum revenue. So let's jump right in. Using the table, playground.revenue, write a SQL query to select rows from a given table that have the maximum revenue value for each ID. The resultant table should have 3 columns, ID, rev, and content. Additionally, the results should be ordered in descending order by revenue. These are the tables that we're going to be using. In this scenario, we're going to use playground.revenue, which is going to have an ID, a rev, and a content column. The result set that we need to provide should have an ID, a rev, and a content. There's a couple little details here. Max revenue for each ID. So we're going to first let's take a look at the data, and we'll just start from there. Okay, so we have an ID column, a rev column, and a content column. You can see we have some, the ID 1 is used multiple times, 2 is used multiple times, 3 is used multiple times, etc. And rev can be the same per ID, or we'll have a max value here. So when we start thinking about maximum revenue, right, then this row would be the winner against these two. Same thing here, we have a 7 and an 8, both have the same ID, both different contents. We have 8 would be the one that won here, and in this case 25, and in this case 35 because there's only one, right? Okay, so let's start simply by trying to find the data we need. So we need ID, we know that. We need rev, and we're going to need content. Perhaps not right now, but we'll go over that shortly. Playground.revenue. And what you'll see is with the exact same data. Okay, so nothing changed. Okay, so what we want to do next is we're going to want to go ahead and get the max. Max rev. And then because we're using an aggregation here, we need to group our non-aggregate. Okay, so as you can see, we've whittled that down to just the rows that had the max values. So why couldn't we just use content? Right, what's going to happen here? Well, the first thing that's going to happen is going to say we need to group by. Content must be an aggregate expression. We don't really want to aggregate on that content. It's not going to work right anyway. So if we were to try to group by that content, what we'll see is that we will end up with all of our rows, right? So how can we think about solving that, right? Well, what we can do is we can just get rid of content here and get rid of content here. And we'll convert this into a CTE. So we'll say with max revenue as, or common table expression, for those unfamiliar with that term. Okay, so now we can say select star from max revenue. Okay, and so as you can see, we're back to just the data we know we need. So per here though, we need to return an ID, a rev, and the content, right? And so what we can do here ID, max rev, we'll just say rev, content, and we're going to say from playground revenue. Okay, so now if we run this, we're going to be back where we were basically. So now what we need to do is we need to take this max revenue, right? We know we're getting the ID here, 1, with a value of 6 with content PS4. So, so what we need to do is go to the next step, which is we're going to introduce a join, right? We want to take this data and we want to look through all the rows here and find each row from this query that matches the ID in the max rev, right? So what we can do is we come down here, and the first thing we want to do is let's convert this over to something a little more easy on the eyes. We don't type out the table name each time. And we'll say inner join. So, right, we want an inner join because we want to look at every row here, and we want to exclude every row from this table based on what we have in this table. So we're going to inner join max revenue M on P.ID. So we want this ID here. We want to join it to the ID here, right? And we also want to make sure that our max rev and our rev are equal so that we're getting the right content, right? So we're going to say we're going to join on this one here, and we're going to join on this one, and that will give us our result that we're looking for. So we're going to say and p.rev, right, equals m.maxrev. Okay, so let's run the query. Okay, so that's looking a little better, but we are missing one of our requirements. The results should be ordered in descending order by revenue. Okay, so let's tidy that up, and I think we're home free here. Order by, and we're going to say p.rev descending. All right, and that's the solution to that question. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.